Good morning, community. How are you? To the West Coast. What's up, East Coast? How are you? Jenenne Macklin here, transformational speaker, wealth guide, and catalyst. I don't know why it looks dark behind me. Is it dark? I guess there's no sun. Oh, there's a little bit. So, how are you today? It's Tuesday, and I guess life is shifting again. Life is shifting again. Hey, Kate, how are you? So, a friend of mine, I told him I didn't look at TV and anything. I could feel what was going on. I said, I feel like California is kind of leveled out. So she told me, she's like, look at Cuomo, Chris. I used to think they were father and son. I didn't know they were brothers. And he could wrap everything up in an hour. So I did. And I guess we're looking to see how things shift with the salons, with the barbers, and with some of the restaurants, which I find interesting, why we'd all want to go to a restaurant. And then based on that, they'll gradually begin to look at opening up more. They're going to check the numbers. And we'll go from there. But, I woke up today and I did my walk, and I'm just annoyed with America. So you may not want to hear me today. I just, I think the concept could have been a beautiful concept. I think. I'm not sure, though, since it was a group of men that sat down and made it up and decided whatever without a woman's opinion in it at all. But, it can be a lot to live in America. So I just thought I'd stop by today and ask you, what's your fear? What are you struggling with? What are you in fear of and fear about that you may not even say anything to anyone about? I was just talking to my son because in looking at the news last night, there's the young black man that was basically murdered in February, but it wasn't brought up, I guess, until recently. Probably was distracted by COVID, or it was intentionally not brought up. And I was saying how, in some regards, America's just killing black youth. America just figures the more black youth they kill, eventually there won't be a black race because they won't have that sperm on the planet. And it's just so obvious to me to watch it happen. And there's no real recourse. And if they're not killing them that way, then they're just putting all black men in prison. And so sometimes feel like there's an extra weight that you're carrying with you. Because you can see all of this, but you still have to do what you came to do. You still have to do the mission that you've been given to do. Even though you can have your own thoughts about how we could be truly a crazy, amazing country, how we could really embrace everyone, and how this country could be all that I think they thought it was going to be, or they were striving for, I think. But I realize America just is not going to be able to do that. And I don't know if America will allow us to do that. Because America has decided it has paid reparations for everyone except for black folks. And America won't. Because America doesn't want to acknowledge the relationship it has with black people in America. Not really with us, but with our ancestors that they brought over on the boats years ago. And I know people are like, we're tired of hearing about that. But it still impacts our lives today. It impacts what we see happening today. I mean, we go year after year after year, black youth are being killed. That's our future. So I'm concerned about that. I'm not in fear of it. I'm pissed off about it, if anything. And I'm certainly determined to raise a black warrior that's conscious, that's compassionate, but that's strong, that knows the options and choices he can make. But it's just interesting to live with that awareness when you walk out of your house and you get in your car and you get ready to go. And I'm sure all of us pause for a moment and say, okay, let's see what life has today. And then we go on from there. And we go and we stop here and we go there. And if we get stopped by the police, we deal with it. And then we make it back home because we think maybe the one place you're going to be safe is when you get in your house. And then we realized that wasn't safe because was it down south? The young lady was in her house babysitting and they shot her through the window because he thought maybe she possibly was doing what? So it's just the interesting dichotomy of how we live in America. And maybe everybody lives this way. I'm not sure. It's just an experience that I have. And as I look out on what I think could be such an incredible country to live in, and I get that it's better than in other countries because they're killing women. Hey, Mr. Squirrel. They're killing women. They're mutilating girls. You know, they're doing a whole lot more in other countries. It's just my own dream for what I think that a God would want for us in coming together and being the best amazing creatures that God created on this planet with the capabilities and the skills and the capacities that we have. We have a car up on Mars that's going around and around, but we can't resolve our race issues. We'd rather have them flared up. We'd rather have a television that is manipulated by 3 or 4 families, and then they decide, oh, let's put this on air and let's see if they panic about that. Let's put this on there and see if that makes them nervous. Oh, let's put this on there and see if that turns them against each other. Who are the puppets that are doing this with the TV and the news stories that they continue to present that continues to generate what's happening in this country? Who are you? Who are you people? And where is your satisfaction in watching this all unfold and explode? Particularly on black youth. So I figure you look at it, we accept it, we deal with it, and we keep on going. I grew up in a black community in Los Angeles, 108th and Main in San Pedro. I don't know why we describe it like that. It's primarily black community. There's one family there. I remember Mary Gossett, I think was her name. She's very, very fair. We know she's black or white because, you know, we come in all kind of beautiful colors or shades. Good morning. And, you know, the Watts Ride and everything. And it was a community and we were in it together. And, you know, we had the Black Panthers and Angela Davis and all that back then. And it wouldn't be, I didn't experience anything in high school. It wouldn't be until I went to college that I began to realize how America really was. And I didn't get it then until actually I went to Europe. And I was struggling in college because I went to basic public school education, as D.L. Hughley says, so I wasn't prepared for college. And a friend of mine said to me, go to Europe on an exchange program, and when you come back, you'll either make it or you won't. And so I went. And I remember being in Europe, and I stayed with a Danish family. I didn't know anything about it. I just went because I loved to travel, and it was something different, and I wanted to see something about the world. And I remember I was riding on the bus, and people were staring at me. And because I came from the United States, of course, where people stare at us all the time, you know, I was like, why are y'all looking at me? What is wrong with you? Stop staring at me. Stop looking at me. And so I came home with attitude one day, and my Danish mother's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, you know, I get on the bus, and you people just keep looking at me. Why do you guys keep staring at me? I get enough of that at home. And she said, we're not like America. We don't have anything against you as a black person. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, did you ever think they were looking at you because you were beautiful? I'm like, no, please. Don't nobody look at me because I'm beautiful. I don't even get that at home. She's like, well, we're not like that. And so the next couple of times I got on the bus, I shifted. I did not realize that I walked around with this protection around me. So I brought my, and I realized that people were cordial. People didn't care about my race. That people were actually nice. And it was like the first time that there were white people, but it also let me know what I had been living under, what I had grown up with, what I had carried with me to another country. It was the guard that I had up all the time. That I didn't know. I didn't know what I was living under. And so it didn't create fear for me. It's just the reality. And if anything, I'm not in fear. We're in fight. What we got to do? Who we got to protect? How we got to stand for? What we got to say? So what is it that you're afraid of as we go through this process? As we gradually head back to work, we gradually head out. We are going to be wearing masks. That's just a given. You'll wear a mask the rest of the body. She's like, you're going to have to get tested. And then if you're both negative, then you could kiss, but then you got to get tested again. I'm like, well, romance is in trouble. At this point, any new romances are in trouble. So, what's your fear? I think the biggest fear is that we don't live up to the full potential that we could for who we are, who we've been created to be on this planet. I just don't really believe that higher being or power, or however we define that, put us here to spend all this time arguing, fussing, and fighting, and to be distracted by skin color. I just think there's so much more that we're supposed to be doing, and so much more we're supposed to be about, and ways that we're supposed to come together. That we actually walk up to each other and stand there and say, "Hi, how are you? Tell me who you are, because I really don't know, and I don't want to I don't want to act like I know who you are because of the color of your skin. Tell me your truth." I know I'm dreaming, huh? Well, I always dream big for us. I always hold a high vision for us. But here's the thing: fear is not real, and I know in some regards, though, you're like, "Oh yeah, fear is real. They're killing boys. Yes, it's real," but it's not real enough to hold on to it and not have faith, and let your faith in something bigger than all of this man-made BS, something bigger than that, envelop it and ultimately extinguish it. That power is what keeps me taking one foot in front of the other, step after step after step. Is that power that keeps me standing strong and being more mindful and present about my energy, and when I let my guard down and when I don't. It's that power that I turn to and lean on. I don't care what America's doing or what they think they're doing to black boys or whatever. The one I have, I'll beat America down about him. So I don't have any fear. I will beat America down about this young man that I'm raising to be a warrior, to be a light on this planet. And I hope everyone else with their children feel the same way too. You don't get him, America. You don't get to stain him or to put fear in him. You don't get that. So what's your fear? What's holding you hostage? And how do you instead grab your freedom and hold on to it as if your very life depended on it, or the life of each and every one of us on this planet depended on it? Because fear isn't going to do anything but keep you immobilized, keep you playing small, keep you locked up. But if you're ready to fight for what you know is right and stand for that, it's always funny. I was just talking to my son. I said, we laugh about it, but it's so true. When it comes to the gun laws, I said, if black folks went out and bought guns, just went and bought guns, they would change the laws. And I would love to be able to mobilize us to do that so we could see them do what they do and watch them do it. They changed the laws. But because we don't have guns and they have all the guns, they're fine with the laws. And I think it's little things like that that make me wonder, what are we afraid of? There's some powerful, different choices we could make that would position us to feel stronger, to feel more in charge in our life, and to feel like we're capable to go up against whatever it is we have to go against. But we keep making the same kind of decisions. But just like if we took our money and we all bought guns and it would change the laws, there's a lot of other things that we could do individually as a community, as a people, and then collectively with others who support us, just like all those who supported Martin Luther King, to make those changes happen. Doesn't take a lot to make the changes. It's just about us being willing to make the changes, to do what it takes, to put whatever on the line to be able to make those changes, and then see what happens. And long as they keep us like immobilized, just doing what we need to do and getting back in our house and closing our doors because, oh my God, what might happen, then they control us. They control us. They control us. So is your fear really your fear, or is your fear something that's been implanted because of what you hear, what you see, and what you then interpret about what you hear, what you see? We all going to die. We know that. The issue is, what do we do between now, this moment, and that time when it comes? And how do we stand? And how strong do we stand? And how much do we fight? And how much are we willing to fight for what we know is right? Everybody on this planet deserves to live a quality life that they build for themselves. That's supposed to be the American dream, right? And I know in other countries it's worse because everybody still wants to come here. But how do you do that if the deck is stacked against you? I just chose to move through it. I went through another situation that I'll talk about another time in college, and I just had to fight through it. Nothing, I wasn't going to lose anything. They weren't going to take anything from me, but it wasn't easy. I must have been skin and bones when I finished that fight, and we had my graduation. I got my master's and came out of there. It was a tough fight, and I won it. But we've got to be willing to fight. So what is your fear? Let me know below. Hashtag replay. Hashtag my fear is this, and this. And then how do we move into a position of power and being willing to fight? Just the Tuesday thoughts. Tuesday truths. Take good care. Have a great day. Bye for now. Hi, Eric. Oh, are you good?